Hello, 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 jazz players. This is a little live stream about how to play AABA forms. I'm gonna give you an example and some tips and tricks and hints what you can do. And in about 7 minutes, you're gonna go how you don't get lost anymore in AABA forms. So what I see with a lot of my students and the questions I get asked over and over again, if we have an AABA form, what do we actually do? And let's write this out again for a second. What happens in A1? We establish an idea, we introduce the head or the theme, right? And then in A2, we play a variation of it. And then comes the bridge or the B section, and that's the contrast. Sorry. Contrast. And then we have A3 again, and that's the reprise. And from then on, in the next chorus, it's the very same, but the A1 is establishing a new idea. And now you see, instead of feeling like we play A, A, B, A, 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 B, A, 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 B, A, 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 B, A, and you get lost and you don't know where the A's are and why there are so many and 3 A sections after each other, it's very clear that instead of getting lost within this here, we have a very, very, very clear framework. And I'm going to show this to you based on the tune Doxy. Goes back. Okay, this is very clear, right? It's extremely simple, but we see it's an AABA form. Now, normally we have longer forms. An A section and the B sections are 8 bars, but just for simplification, I use this here, and this is something it's easier to control and remember 4 bars than 8 bars because, and that's something I want to show you now, the trick is, the not so easy thing is this here, you have to remember what you're actually doing in the first section, right? So in the first A section, sorry, this is somehow showing the wrong window, that the first line and the second line and the fourth line, they are very similar. This is exactly the same, except here in this part of the tune, there is a little bit of different chord symbols. The chord progression is a little bit different. And then the third line is a contrast. Now this little contrast, what we're having in the chords, we also want to play it. And the tricky thing is that whatever you do in the beginning, you need to remember in the end, otherwise you're not going to be able to actually play a reprise. And that's key to the whole thing. And then after you play the reprise, you're going to come up with a new idea. Let me show you a little bit of an example how this can be done. was maybe a too simple example. I admit it was not the most musical thing I did from the melodies I played on trombone, but my purpose was to actually show the structure. Now, how can this look like when we're going more into real soloing and not just playing a framework? Okay, these were some ideas what you can do to actually create a contrast in the B section. And now in the future when you're going to play over AABA sections, just remember we want to have, this is the basic framework. First you start with an idea, you need to remember a little bit of that idea. Then you play a variation of it. You go into a contrast and you try to find a way how to show a reprise. Now it does not, the reprise does not have to be a very same melodic idea. It can also just reflect the range or maybe just the energy or the density, the rhythmic density. So if you have a lot of 8 notes here and then you keep on playing 8 notes and here you play long tones and then this is another busy part, this can also be a contrast. But important is that every time you start a new course, feel it as a new beginning, as a new idea. And this is going to help you to actually play more confidently over AABA forms without getting lost. I hope this was helpful. I'm looking forward for your comments below. Get in touch if you think this was helpful and you have questions. I'm looking forward for the next one.